The command center was a hive of activity, its walls lined with flickering screens that displayed various views of the approaching alien fleet. The room was dimly lit, casting long shadows that danced with the pulse of emergency lights. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood at the forefront, her eyes fixed on the central display that showed the massive fleet edging closer to Earth. "Is the signal ready?" she asked, her voice a steady anchor amidst the chaos. A young technician, his face illuminated by the glow of his console, nodded vigorously. "We're set, Dr. Carter. The transmission will be live in 3, 2, 1. The screens flashed as the final warning message began broadcasting across all channels and frequencies. Dr. Carter's voice echoed through the command center, crisp and authoritative. "This is Earth's final warning. We have developed technology capable of unimaginable destruction. Cease your approach immediately or face the consequences." She glanced at the response monitor, her heart pounding. The screen remained unchanged, showing nothing but static. The room fell into a heavy silence, broken only by the faint hum of machinery. Colonel James Hart, a grizzled veteran with a stern demeanor, stepped up beside Dr. Carter. "Do you think they'll listen?" Dr. Carter shook her head, her expression troubled. "I doubt it. We've prepared for the worst. Let's hope we don't need to use it." Across the globe, people gathered in makeshift shelters, their eyes glued to the skies. The alien ships, a dark mass of shifting shadows, loomed ominously. Families huddled together, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. In the command center, the team braced for the inevitable. Every second felt like an eternity as the alien fleet continued its inexorable approach. The tension in the air was palpable as the alien fleet drew closer. The sight of the dark, menacing formation on the monitors filled everyone with a sense of dread. Each ship seemed to pulse with an eerie, otherworldly glow, a stark reminder of the impending danger. In the underground bunkers, Anna Martinez was at the heart of the action. Her workstation was surrounded by screens displaying real-time data and holographic maps of the defensive grid. Her fingers moved deftly across the controls, inputting final commands and adjustments. "Anna, how are we looking?" asked Lieutenant Mark Reynolds, his face tense as he looked over her shoulder. "Everything's operational," Anna replied, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We've got all the defense systems online and ready. It's just a matter of waiting for the signal to engage." Lieutenant Reynolds nodded, his expression a mix of hope and apprehension. "Let's just hope it doesn't come to that." Meanwhile, above ground, the city was eerily quiet. The once bustling streets were now deserted, with only the distant sounds of sirens and the hum of emergency generators breaking the silence. In the shelters, families huddled together, clinging to each other for comfort. At a nearby shelter, Emily Johnson, a young mother, held her daughter close. The little girl's wide eyes reflected the fear and uncertainty of the situation. "It's going to be okay, sweetie," Emily whispered, though her voice wavered. "We're safe here." The shelter's leader, a local volunteer named David, moved among the people, offering words of reassurance. "We're prepared, everyone. Just stay calm and follow the instructions. We'll get through this." In the command center, Dr. Carter and Colonel Hart reviewed the latest updates. The alien fleet was now within striking distance, and every news scan showed the same unsettling pattern. The ships were not deviating from their course. "Their intent is clear," Colonel Hart said, his voice grim. "They're coming in for a direct approach. We need to be ready." Dr. Carter nodded, her expression a mix of determination and worry. "We've done all we can. Now it's a matter of execution. If they don't respond to the warning, we'll have to use Zeus." As the hours ticked by, the world held its collective breath. The alien fleet loomed ever closer, casting a shadow over Earth's defenses. The global community watched anxiously, their hopes pinned on the preparations that had been made. Deep beneath the surface, in a highly secure laboratory nestled in a hidden facility, the air was charged with a mixture of excitement and tension. The room was filled with advanced technology, its walls lined with holographic displays and cutting-edge equipment. The scent of ozone and machine oil hung heavy in the air. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood before a sleek, gleaming device encased in a transparent protective shell. It was the centerpiece of the project she and her team had been working on for years. Zeus. The room was filled with top military personnel and scientists, all focused on the device. Colonel James Hart, his uniform impeccably pressed, approached Dr. Carter with a look of keen interest. "Dr. Carter, is this really going to work?" Dr. Carter turned to him, her face a mix of determination and apprehension. "Zeus is our most advanced weapon. It's designed to dismantle enemy vessels at a molecular level. We've tested it extensively, and all simulations show that it should work. But this will be its first real-world application." The room was buzzing with hushed conversations and nervous glances. Dr. Carter's lead engineer, Marcus Lynn, adjusted the controls on a nearby console, his hands moving with practiced precision. "We're ready to initiate the final calibration," Marcus announced. "The system is stable and all diagnostics are green." Dr. Carter nodded. "Let's proceed." The device's protective shell retracted with a soft hiss, revealing a complex array of emitters and energy conduits. The holographic displays showed intricate diagrams of the weapon's operational parameters. Colonel Hart glanced around at the assembled team, his voice steady but laden with the weight of responsibility. "Everyone, this is it. We're about to deploy a weapon of unimaginable power. We have one shot at this, so let's make sure everything goes according to plan." Dr. Carter took a deep breath and stepped to the control panel, initiating final sequence. The holographic displays updated with real-time data, showing the alien fleet's approach. Each ship was marked with a red icon, growing larger and more ominous as they neared Earth. As the countdown began, the room fell into a tense silence. Dr. Carter's eyes were fixed on the monitors, her fingers poised over the activation controls. 5 minutes to deployment," Marcus called out. Dr. Carter exchanged a glance with Colonel Hart. "Prepare for final activation. We'll need to be precise." Colonel Hart nodded. "Everyone stay sharp. This is our last line of defense." The minutes ticked by slowly, each one a reminder of the stakes involved. The alien fleet was now within Earth's atmosphere, its presence a constant, looming threat. Finally, the countdown reached 0. Dr. Carter's hand hovered over the activation button. She took a deep breath and pressed it. A low hum filled the room as Zeus powered up, its energy field crackling with intense light. The holographic displays showed the weapon aligning with the alien fleet. The tension in the room was palpable, every eye fixed on the central screen. The device emitted a brilliant beam of energy, cutting through the atmosphere with a resounding pulse. The beam struck the first alien vessel, and within moments, the entire fleet was enveloped in a dazzling display of light and destruction. The room fell into stunned silence as the screens displayed the obliteration of the alien fleet. What had once been a formidable threat was now nothing more than cosmic debris. The weight of their success and the implications of their actions hung heavily in the air. In the command center, the atmosphere was charged with a mix of anticipation and dread. The alien fleet, now ominously close, cast a dark shadow over the planet. The final preparations for the deployment of Zeus were in full swing, each team member focused on their specific tasks. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood before a large display screen, her face illuminated by the glow of real-time data. The alien ships were now within Earth's atmosphere, their advanced sensors detecting the planet's defenses and causing global tension to spike. "Status report," Dr. Carter called out, her voice steady but carrying an undercurrent of urgency. Lieutenant Mark Reynolds, his eyes fixed on his console, replied, "All systems are green. Zeus is fully operational and ready for deployment. We're just waiting for the final authorization." Anna Martinez, now at a secondary control station, was coordinating with her team. "We've synchronized the defense network. All defense systems are on standby, ready to assist if necessary." Colonel James Hart, who had been pacing back and forth, now stopped and looked at the screens with a mixture of steely resolve and apprehension. "We've prepared for this moment. Once we engage, there's no going back. Make sure everyone is ready." The final countdown began, each second marked by the rhythmic pulse of the command center's alarms. Dr. Carter's team worked in synchronized precision, making last-minute adjustments and checks. Anna's hands moved deftly over her control panel, initiating final synchronization with Zeus, confirming alignment with target coordinates. On the screens, the alien fleet's formation was clearly visible. Each ship was marked with a red icon, their size and proximity growing larger with every passing second. The air in the command center was thick with tension as the countdown continued. As the clock ticked down, Dr. Carter approached the central console where the final activation command would be given. She took a deep breath, her gaze never wavering from the screens. 3 minutes to deployment, Marcus Lynn announced, his voice carrying the weight of the moment. Dr. Carter addressed the team, her voice firm. "This is our last chance. We've done everything we can. All we need now is to execute with precision." Colonel Hart nodded. "We're in this together. Let's stay focused." The final minute approached, each second feeling like an eternity. The team's focus was unwavering, their movements precise and deliberate. The alien fleet was now mere moments away from reaching the critical point of no return. The countdown reached 0, and Dr. Carter's hand hovered over the activation button. The room fell into a tense silence, the gravity of the situation weighing heavily on everyone present. With a final, determined breath, Dr. Carter pressed the button. The room was immediately filled with the low, resonant hum of Zeus powering up. Energy fields crackled to life, and the holographic displays updated with real-time data. The moment of truth had arrived. Zeus was now fully engaged, and the command center held its collective breath as they prepared for the outcome of their decisive action. The hum of Zeus filled the command center, its energy field crackling with raw power. The room was a hive of tense activity. The team's focus sharpened as they prepared to witness the culmination of their efforts. Dr. Evelyn Carter and Colonel James Hart stood at the center of the room, their eyes locked on the main display screen that showed the alien fleet in its final approach. "Energy levels are stabilizing," Anna Martinez reported from her control station. "We're ready to initiate the beam." Dr. Carter nodded, her face a mask of resolve. "Initiate the beam sequence." With a low, resonant hum, Zeus activated. The beam of energy shot from the surface of the Earth, slicing through the atmosphere with a blinding intensity. The room was bathed in a harsh, brilliant light as the beam made contact with the alien fleet. The main display screen showed the initial impact, the beam striking the leading vessel with a dazzling burst of energy. For a moment, everything seemed to hold its breath as the beam expanded, engulfing the fleet in a radiant wave of destruction. The alien ships, once imposing and formidable, were instantly overwhelmed by the energy. The screens displayed a series of explosions, each ship disintegrating in a cascade of fiery debris. The once menacing fleet was reduced to nothing more than cosmic remnants, scattered across the expanse of space. Dr. Carter's breath caught in her throat as she watched the destruction unfold. The alien fleet, which had loomed so ominously over Earth, was now a distant memory. The room was silent, save for the hum of Zeus winding down and the soft murmurs of disbelief from the team. Colonel Hart's voice broke the silence, filled with a mix of awe and solemnity. "We did it. The threat is neutralized." Anna looked at the display, her eyes wide with a mixture of shock and relief. "It's over. We've done it." Dr. Carter's expression remained stoic as she processed the enormity of their success. "Prepare a full damage assessment. We need to understand the impact of Zeus's deployment and ensure there are no unforeseen consequences." As the team conducted their post-deployment analysis, the gravity of the situation began to sink in. The alien fleet had been eradicated in seconds, but the implications of such a powerful weapon were profound. The command center was a place of victory, but also one of reflection and uncertainty. The global community watched as news reports flashed images of the destruction and the aftermath. There was a collective sigh of relief, but also a deep, unsettling awareness of the cost of their victory. The immediate threat was gone, but the long-term ramifications of using such a weapon would be felt for years to come. In the wake of the destruction, the world grappled with the consequences of their actions. The alien threat had been eradicated, but the victory was tinged with a profound sense of unease. The command center, once a hub of activity and triumph, now felt heavy with the weight of the aftermath. Dr. Evelyn Carter and her team were summoned to a high-level debriefing with world leaders. The meeting took place in a fortified conference room, where representatives from various nations gathered to discuss the implications of using Zeus. The room was tense as Dr. Carter, Colonel Hart, and Anna Martinez took their seats. The world leaders, including the UN Secretary-General and various national leaders, looked at them with a mixture of gratitude and apprehension. Dr. Carter, the UN Secretary-General, began, "You've achieved a remarkable victory, but the use of Zeus raises serious ethical and strategic questions. We need to understand the full impact of this technology and its future implications." Dr. Carter took a deep breath, her mind racing as she prepared to address the concerns. Zeus was our last line of defense. It was deployed only after all other options were exhausted. However, I understand the concerns regarding its use. We need to ensure that such technology is handled with the utmost responsibility and transparency. Colonel Hart nodded in agreement. Our primary focus now should be on assessing the long-term effects and ensuring that we have safeguards in place to prevent misuse. Anna, sitting quietly beside them, couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She had witnessed the destruction firsthand and was haunted by the images of the disintegrated fleet. She raised her hand, her voice trembling slightly as she spoke. "I think we also need to consider the moral implications of using such a weapon. It's not just about the immediate threat, it's about how we use our power moving forward." The leaders listened attentively, their expressions reflecting the gravity of the discussion. The meeting continued for hours, with intense debates and discussions about the ethical ramifications and future strategies. The consensus was that while the immediate threat had been neutralized, humanity needed to learn from the experience and strive for better solutions. In the days following the debriefing, the global media was abuzz with discussions about the ethics of Zeus and the future of Earth's defense strategies. Public opinion was divided. Some hailed the action as a necessary measure, while others questioned the morality of wielding such destructive power. Dr. Carter, Colonel Hart, and Anna worked tirelessly to address the concerns and develop a framework for the responsible use of advanced technology. They advocated for stronger international agreements and protocols to ensure that such weapons would only be used as a last resort. As the world began to recover and rebuild, the sense of relief was tempered by a deep, lingering reflection. The victory over the alien threat had come at a cost, and the path forward was uncertain. Humanity had faced a critical moment in its history and had to navigate the delicate balance between security and ethics. With the immediate crisis behind them, Earth began the difficult process of rebuilding and redefining its future. The devastation caused by Zeus and the subsequent ethical debates had left an indelible mark on the global consciousness. The world was now at a crossroads, seeking a path toward healing and unity. In the aftermath of the crisis, Dr. Evelyn Carter, Colonel James Hart, and Anna Martinez found themselves at the forefront of a global effort to address the long-term implications of their actions. They were involved in drafting new international treaties and protocols aimed at preventing the misuse of powerful technology. The scene at the United Nations headquarters was one of intense collaboration. Representatives from all corners of the globe gathered to discuss the future of interstellar diplomacy and defense. Dr. Carter and Colonel Hart, along with other key figures, presented their recommendations for responsible technology use. "Humanity has reached a turning point," Dr. Carter said during a high-profile press conference. "We must ensure that the power we wield is used responsibly and ethically. The technology we've developed, while powerful, must be governed by strict international agreements to prevent future misuse." Colonel Hart added, "We need to build a framework for global cooperation and transparency. Only through united efforts can we prevent the mistakes of the past from repeating." The global community responded with a mixture of hope and skepticism. The new treaties and protocols were met with both praise and criticism as nations debated the balance between security and diplomacy. However, the effort to establish a more cohesive and responsible approach to defense technology marked a significant shift in international relations. Meanwhile, Ana Martinez took on a role as an advocate for technological ethics. She traveled the world, speaking at conferences and universities about the importance of moral responsibility in scientific advancement. Her experiences had profoundly impacted her, and she was determined to ensure that future developments would be approached with greater caution and ethical consideration. In the years that followed, Earth saw a renewed emphasis on global cooperation and peaceful dialogue. The scars of the recent conflict remained, but they served as a powerful reminder of the need for vigilance and unity. The world's nations worked together to develop new technologies, ensuring that they were used for the betterment of humanity rather than its destruction. Dr. Carter, Colonel Hart, and Anna looked back on their experiences with a mixture of pride and somber reflection. They had faced one of humanity's greatest challenges and had emerged with a deeper understanding of their responsibility. The legacy of Zeus was one of both triumph and caution, a reminder of the delicate balance between power and morality. As the story of Earth's encounter with the alien threat became part of the planet's history, it served as a testament to humanity's resilience and capacity for growth. The new era that followed was one of cautious optimism, with a renewed commitment to ensuring that the lessons learned would guide future actions and decisions. The world had changed, and so had its people. They had faced the unknown, confronted their fears, and emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. The future was unwritten, but it was one that would be shaped by the choices made in the aftermath of a crisis that had tested the very limits of human courage and responsibility.